This is Shinn Arboretum, city park in Fremont. They have a lot of weddings here in the Shinn mansion. Shinn was a nurseryman, and he started out around 1865. Started his own nursery. He was importing a lot of stuff from Japan. He had orchards going. This is a Ginkgo biloba tree from China. It's the largest specimen in the Tri-City area. It was planted 136 years ago in 1878. Within this tree, there's aerial roots that are starting to melt down from the tree, and it's a very prized feature of the tree.
Well, let's go have a look at those.
All right, this is the Ginkgo up close, the trunk on it. This is the aerial roots I was talking about are starting to melt down and towards the ground. The Chinese call it tus. And
TSU?
TSU, I believe. And this tree, you only see these on very old trees. And like I said, this is a 136-year-old tree. And you're starting to see this feature right here, which is very rare.
So this makes it about the biggest Ginkgo biloba anywhere in the Tri-City area?
The Tri-City area.
Okay, so there's some maybe up towards San Francisco or
Usually
Oakland?
are in the Great Imperial Valley. There's a lot, like in Capitol Park in Sacramento. So in those areas, you'll see larger ones because of the heat in the soil.
Yeah, but on this tree, though, wouldn't this have been one of the earlier ones ever brought into California by Shinn?
Yeah, sure was.
The Ginkgo was, for me, the first tree that I ever learned as a boy. My mother knew this tree, and we were in a park in Chicago when she handed me a leaf and said, "Look, these leaves look just like butterflies." I said, "Oh, that is pretty distinctive," and that was where I first realized that not all plants were just green things, that each one of them had a unique fingerprint about it. And then if you looked at the patterns in the plants, the architecture of all of our trees is distinct from one another. And because of my mother and this tree, I later began to learn most of the trees. I could see the difference, realize that that was a strange thing because most of the people around me would just say, "Oh yeah, trees, green stuff," but I'd be calling them all by their names, and each had an individual personality. This was my first tree. I like it a lot, and then later as a boy going into the Field Museum in Chicago, we saw these leaves in the fossils that were in the Field Museum because this is really an ancient tree. It was supposedly only known to the fossil record until a botanist found it in a remote valley in China, I think.
Yeah, that's the same with the Dawn Redwood.
Yeah, they brought them out, and it's amazing that it would have only been in that one location naturally anymore after so many millions of years, because this tree doesn't get insects, it doesn't get funguses, it'll grow in wet sites, dry sites. It's really one of the most adaptable shade trees we actually have.
The leaves go yellow in the fall, and they'll drop within 2 weeks, and the whole ground's covered yellow.
This place looks like sunshine. Underneath here in October, when the sky's high blue and we got bright gold leaves, it's just illuminated like gold. It's one of my favorite spots in town for fall leaves. There's a point Nelson brought up. Nelson brought up about the shade in parks. I mean, look at the beautiful, cool shade. It could be 85 degrees out here, but with all these trees overhead shading this park, this place is totally inviting. Having large old trees around us to create shade during the summer months is just a thing of beauty. And that's where the deciduous tree comes in too, because I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I want an evergreen tree, so it's got leaves all the time." The trees are ugly when the leaves come off. Tell you what, when that ginkgo turns, and it turns bright gold in fall in here, that's more amazing even than the plain green leaves of summer. And then when the leaves come down, it's like a convertible top. In the wintertime when we need that sun, and we want to sit there in the light warming. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Look at it.
Oh yeah.
And then in the summer, you got the cool rays coming through them and heating up the house.
And it does it automatically.
In the summer, it shades the house. In the winter, it loses its leaves, and the house is heated by the sun.
And it's automatic, man. It doesn't take any thermostats. It doesn't take any energy, you know.